Next, I'm going to go into reactions involving carboxylic acids and using a carboxylic acid to form the other carboxylic acid derivatives. So this is formation of carboxylic acid derivatives. So all the reactions I'm going to go over are examples of nucleophilic acyl substitution. So this is when nucleophilic attack by the nucleophile forms a tetrahedral intermediate that opens the carbonyl. And the carbonyl can reform again by kicking off the leaving group if it is a good leaving group. So the overall reaction is the nucleophile replaces the leaving group of the acyl derivative through an SN2 reaction. And for carboxylic acids, the leaving group is a water molecule. So on the bottom, I just have the general mechanism for nucleophilic acyl substitution. So the nucleophile attacks the molecule through a backside attack that pushes the electrons onto the oxygen. And this just forms this tetrahedral molecule. But then you reform the carbonyl by resonating down the lone pair and kicking off the leaving group, which in the case of carboxylic acids is a water molecule. So that's the general structure, general mechanism of nucleophilic acyl substitution. And next, I'm going to go over how to form an amide. So for amide formation, what happens is the ammonia NH3 or an amine attacks a carboxylic acid and forms an amide. So as you see on the bottom, the carboxylic acid, when reacted with a ammonia molecule or an amine, it's able to form this structure on the right called an amide. So this is how to form an amide via a carboxylic acid. And this is through nucleophilic acyl substitution. Next, formation of an ester. So when you react a carboxylic acid with an alcohol group under acidic conditions, this forms an ester group, also known as esterification. This is considered a condensation reaction because you combine two groups and form H2O as a side product. So on the bottom, as you can see, when you take a carboxylic acid and you react it with an alcohol group, you can form this ester group on the right. So it's a carbonyl with this alcohol group attached, and you form H2O as a side product. You can also convert the ester group back to a carboxylic acid and alcohol through a hydrolysis reaction. So that's the opposite reaction when you use the water to cut this ester group back into a carboxylic acid and an alcohol. And it makes sense that this reaction is faster with primary alcohols because there's less substituents attached to that carbon attached to the hydroxy group. So with less steric hindrance, it's able to proceed faster. So when you have a reaction with a either a secondary alcohol, primary alcohol, or a tertiary alcohol, the primary alcohols are faster than the secondary and tertiary alcohols because it has less steric hindrance. So that's the formation of an ester group. Next, an anhydride. So for anhydride formation, you use two carboxylic acids to form an anhydride. This is also a condensation reaction because it combines these two carboxylic acids and forms water as a side product. So what happens is this these carboxylic acids through a nucleophilic acyl substitution reaction, you convert two carboxylic acid groups to an anhydride group, which is even more reactive than a carboxylic acid. So this is anhydride formation. So all three of those reactions were nucleophilic acyl substitution reactions, where a nucleophile attacks the carboxylic acid, and the nucleophile replaces the hydroxide group in the molecule after the carbonyl reforms and kicks off the water as the leaving group. Okay. Next, saponification. So this is soap formation. This is when a salt is formed from a long chain carboxylic acid, and after reacting with either sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, so any strong base. So we take a long chain carboxylic acid and react it with a base, you form this soap molecule, and also water as a side product. So the soap that's formed, it has a long non-polar tail and a polar carboxylate head group. This may look familiar because, as you can see on the bottom, this is the formation. This is the reaction that involves a fatty acid and a base, and it forms a soap molecule. So our body does this reaction often, cutting down fatty acid groups using base to form soap and water. I'll move on to this question. So reacting a carboxylic acid with an alcohol group in the presence of an acid catalyst, what would you be expected to produce? So everyone picked choice B, and yeah, that's the correct answer. So when you take a carboxylic acid and react it with an alcohol and using acid catalyst, that would form an ester group. So just remember, if you react carboxylic acid with an alcohol, it would form an ester group. For choice A, an amide, you would need either ammonia or amine group, an amine group. For ketone, you would have to reduce the carboxylic acid. Similarly for secondary alcohol, that would take a lot of work if you want to form that, but you would have to reduce it as well. So yeah, choice B is the correct answer.